Take a seat, sit back, relax, and welcome to the Kladecast. Today with me, I have Michael Lee. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's I've been following your work for months now, so it's an honor to finally get to experience it firsthand.
I'm happy that you're on. He's actually my first and only Patreon supporter, so he's been fully supporting me in my podcast journey. So I really do appreciate that. But that is not the reason I have you on. You're kind of a little bit famous at our school. We're not going to say what our school name is, but anyone that's watching knows. But you're kind of, I don't know, you want to just, explain what you do a little bit, for our school?
Yeah. Since I want to say for the last 2 years, I've been actively pushing out information related to our school on my social media, Instagram, Michael Mousestar.
I love that name, by the way.
Yeah. Just to ensure that, all this information is getting out to the right people at the right time, because it'd be odd, it'd be bad, for example, if there was a sports tryout and we had a really talented athlete in our student body and they didn't hear about it until after the deadline. That's life-changing. So yeah. I wanted to ensure that the proper information got out to the student body and everyone remains informed.
Yeah, so how do you feel about being kind of the advocate? I know a lot of people at our school, and me too, we look for information and stuff from your Instagram. You're kind of the school news, in a way. How does it feel to kind of be that person that people kind of see as that person?
For me, it's kind of unfortunate because the fact that a student has to step up to essentially do the school's job, that's in a way disappointing. But I'm honestly honored that so many students look up to me for information, because really the goal was getting that message out that our school needs to do more in terms of keeping students informed. And if information is all over the place, there should really just be one place that students could look to. And I think I helped fill that gap. And, I'm glad that students find it useful.
Yeah, so even though you're an advocate for the school, I feel the school has not attacked you, but they kind of, I guess, don't like you in a way. Am I wrong?
It's definitely up to perspectives, because I don't want to generalize everyone at our school as one being who are against me, but I've definitely faced controversy. I think that's a safe word here and there, with certain staff members and administrators. But really, for the most part, there's even certain people on staff that I go to get some of my information to give out to students. So, it's on and off.
Yeah. So we had a actual I would say protest. I don't think that how you would describe on your Instagram was not a protest at all, but we had a protest against, was it really mask? Did we really anyone know what it was actually about? It was not very organized well.
Yeah, and honestly, I can't repeat myself on this enough that I'm not the walkouts organizer, and I think it's a big misconception among certain students and even the administrators. But yeah, I did not plan the walkout, and because of that, when I'm getting my message out, it's really hard to say what the walkout's actual intentions are, because it really ranged from some people wanting to go back to distance learning, and some people wanting stricter COVID protocols, and some people just wanting to get out of class.
Yeah, to be honest, our teacher, she was willing to just let everyone go out because she believes in a student's right to protest, but I was not there to support what was happening in a way. I guess, yeah. Basically, yeah, our protest, it was just a bunch of students just walking out in our student union, just the main area of our school, and people were just standing there, just hanging out. And the news got called and everything, and you got a lot of backlash for supposedly causing it. Do you want to just give some context of maybe how that started, and then like, or yeah, what caused like people to think it was you, and then like what happened because of that.
And I just wanted to add, it's an interesting thing that you bring up, that your teacher just allowed students who wanted to head to the walkout to go, because I didn't find out about this until after, and it would have been nice if this information was more public. The principal of our school actually sent out an email to all faculty member that morning, telling teachers that if they want to attend a walkout, to let them, don't physically try to stop them.
Yeah.
And, even that small bit of support that our school isn't completely against us, and that if there are students who want to protest, then they're free to do so, I think that's an important message that really got messed up in all this.
Yeah, I mean, even though I do feel a lot of like support from the school, like you and me kind of, I think we had the same understanding that like there was problems like communicating with the students and with like the staff. And like I do appreciate that you're the type of person to kind of like be the median person like between that. Like you're letting everyone know the information like where it should be, and like students aren't getting that.
And to your previous question about how everything kind of
I want to
exploded out of place. I mean, it's an interesting timeline, because we returned from winter break, and we're seeing cases skyrocket. I think we reached 500 student COVID cases in less than 2 weeks, and immediately that became a point of concern for me, and I think many students, as we saw the COVID account pop up, and then several students voicing their concerns at the board meeting as well. So, I was ready on that Tuesday to speak at our school's, our district's Board of Education meeting. And then before I get a call from our district, essentially asking me what's going on. And I'm so confused because I don't know what's going on. And then I find out that there's a walkout that's supposedly planned for that week, that I did post on my Instagram about, but at the time I even said myself that I can't.
You weren't advocating for everything.
Yeah, that I don't exactly have an opinion on this, because a part of me felt that it was ironic, because to protest lenient COVID protocols, you're getting everyone together, even closer and outside, so with the possibility that many people aren't going to be wearing masks.
Oh yeah, our protest was just like a group of like 100 students, maybe. No mask, no nothing, flying naked pictures of Nicki Minaj everywhere. Like that was not a COVID protest.
So really, I want to say, everyone was there for different reasons, and it was more like a mosh pit than anything else. But yeah, no, back to the timeline. I get that call from the district, and I find out later that they had actually called my mom beforehand and asked her to give them my personal phone number, which I just find odd for any district to do, especially at the time I was under 18. And so, I don't know any legal troubles with that, but I kind of just went along with it. And I answer the phone call, and it's just incredibly aggressive. At least, from my perspective, it feels like they're trying to interrogate me and then get to the point of trying to make me admit that I was the one who planned it. And I don't know what their goal is there. And before the phone call ends, it ends with the person on the phone from the district saying that to prove my innocence, I should go and find out the true identity of the COVID account, which, I'm not some district bounty hunter. That's insane.
Detective Michael Malstar on the way to figure out who started this account.
Yeah. So, I'm just bewildered after that phone call. And on the same day, I was already planning on speaking at the board meeting, which I did. And I think it's a day after, or it might have been, I don't know, the days I get mixed up. It's been a while, but on that week after I speak at the board meeting, the walkout happens, and we know what happened there, and I think there were a lot of people with masks on, but there were a lot as well without masks on. So, and then the Nicki Minaj parade. So, yeah. But what's more interesting is what happened after, because I get a call from the superintendent of our district board, and they called me again on my personal phone number. So I guess they just have that.
Yeah,
on,
they have you on call now.
Yeah, they just have me on their file. And they're telling me that they want to meet with me, with the board president, to get a student perspective on how to better keep students safe. And I went to the meeting, my girlfriend and I, just so it wasn't like a 2v1 conversation. It felt still equal. It was definitely insightful, but I wouldn't say it really led anywhere per se. Yeah.
Well, didn't that lead to like you activism, like getting an actual LA Times article? Like that's pretty huge, I would say.
Yeah, and that was really never the goal, because it was just trying to get that message out of, we at the time we feel unsafe, and that there are students with parents who are immunocompromised, and I'm getting DMs with really incredibly tragic stories. So we want the school to do their jobs to keep students safe. And so I actually, one of the social media platforms that I posted about the walkout was Nextdoor, which a lot of parents and adults use, and a lot of them hear about this and they're like, we totally support you, and just tell us what we can do for you. And without me even telling them, they go out of their way to leave tips to different news organizations. And next thing I know, at the walkout itself, we heard the helicopter go
that was
around.
crazy.
Yeah. And a few days later, I'm getting all these emails from different news outlets who are reaching out to me to see if I'm ready for an interview. But no, really, even before the walkout, I actually spoke at a different board meeting of our district. I want to say it was back in November or sometime all the way in the past, because at the time a big thing was these parents that I'm facing now and then, they wanted to completely get rid of masks. And this was way before the spike after winter break. This was way before even Christmas. It was like, it was 2021. And at the time, it seemed insane because no one else did it, or at least in California, and it was probably the most unstable time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, how does it feel that like all these like parents are like attacking you? There was a whole Instagram account made for like anti-COVID and like hating on all of these teachers at our school, and eventually they just targeted like Michael, like, for everything that you were doing. Like, how does that feel for like parents to be like attacking you?
I think one of my favorite quotes that I actually gave to in my LA Times interview was that it's bonkers, because that's really the best way I could put it in words. It is. It's a group of parents targeting, at the time I was a minor, and even after that, a high school student. And on their Instagram account, they're calling me out by first name. They're posting pictures of like a crying baby, and it's like, wow, these are our parents.
These are parents like doing like the most childish thing like someone could do.
So and they have me blocked, so I can't even respond, and they're just taking shots at me without me able to respond, which that's the most cowardly thing to do. Yeah. I agree. and really, when I reference these parents, I don't even have to add any commentary on my own stories. I just screenshot what they did, and that's it. And, that's all.
I mean, I've like, coming from an outside perspective, like, I know this is not fun for you, but coming from an outside, it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's bonkers. Like you said, like, just really like watching like these people just attacking you for no reason. It's just kind of funny. I mean, obviously, like, you can understand why, like, some people like will have different political opinions, but that's no reason to attack someone, especially like you said, a minor. Like, if they would have been like like, hey, we don't believe in masks, this is why, like, how this is what we should do, like, you took a very reasonable and appropriate approach to like trying to fix things, when them on the other hand, they're attacking a minor on social media for no reason.
And and that's the thing, because really, we're in the middle of a pandemic where people are literally dying out there, and it shouldn't be a time where people are just taking cheap shots at each other, and should be, if someone wants to wear a mask, then leave them be. And if someone's not wearing a mask, there's no reason for anyone to harass them.
Exactly. Or vice versa.
Yeah. And so yeah, if they don't have a mask on, and you don't exactly feel safe, just ask them kindly to put a mask on. And if they don't want to, well, you stay distanced, I guess. But yeah, there's really, we're hearing all these stories about how COVID is fracturing students' lives, and it's creating divisions, like brothers brothers against brothers, like fathers against sons. So but it really should be just everyone coming together to determine and analyze how they themselves need to keep them and their own families safe, and then most importantly, their community. Because I think that's the message that gets left out a lot, and it's that selfish nature a lot of people want to have, because at the end of the day, as much as important it is, to keep yourself safe, it's as important to keep your family and to keep the people around you safe.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's like an interesting idea, like how you're saying, like it's separating people. Like, I don't want to like dive that much more into politics, even though I'm enjoying talking about it. But it's sad how like something like this, like 9/11 was something that brought a lot of people together, like something tragic. Like COVID is kind of something tragic, but it's just separating people more than ever. And that is kind of like, or that is really sad to see. Yeah. But like you were kind of bringing up something else, or I don't know if you did, but like it was just thinking me about like mental health, like COVID, like it was hard to see people at our school like go through like everything that was happening, and like people being depressed, like suicidal, like all these different feelings from being like stuck inside from COVID. Yeah. And it didn't really seem like the school was doing anything about it. And I think you've been kind of like talking about that, making sure that students are protecting their mental health, like especially during this time.
Yeah. And, during like distance learning, when we were all stuck at home, I read a scientific report that said that suicide rates were actually down, and that, my theory on that was assuming that when everyone's stuck at home, it's they're on their computers, and it's a time for people to just reach out to those closest to them, and see how they can keep connected even during the worst times. I mean, I'm of course skeptical on that report, as the obvious assumption is everyone's at home and alone and isolated, so what's the worst that could happen? So yeah, there's a level of skepticism even there. But I like to believe that, in the early stages at least, that people were looking out for each other.
Yeah, I like that idea too. I mean, for me, myself, like I definitely like grew closer to myself during COVID. So
yeah, nice,
like I'm
soul
really
searching.
Exactly. I was searching for my soul, just loving myself. That's what I was doing during COVID.
Yeah.
So like COVID in that way was really good for me, but I know a lot of people that like it was the complete opposite, and like yeah, just going through like school with that, like that's just really hard.
Yeah. And that's one of the main reasons that I've been pushing to keep schools open and safe. And I think that message again got lost in the whole walkout, and people viewing me as the one who organized it. But I was never one for complete distance learning, because I really, I totally understand that mental health argument. And we've even experienced it firsthand, what it's like doing school from home, and what it's like for teachers to try to teach us from home, and all the technology issues we faced. So yeah, I completely understand, and I think our goal should be to do whatever we can to keep schools open. And of course, and that was my the second rationale for stricter COVID protocols, as the more cases there are, the higher chance that our school could shut down, and I don't think anyone wants that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to try to shift the conversation a little bit away from COVID. You're very into volunteerism, and you do a lot for the community, and I just want to hear you just talk about like that experience. I know you do a lot for Wilderness Park near us, and that's like I want to just know all about that and just like your other just ways that you're just volunteering and just helping in our community.
I mean, if I had one sentence to say, I have to thank my man Clark Woods back in Paris.
We love Woods.
Because he's the one who honestly inspired me to get involved with all this. If it wasn't for him, I would not have learned about all this environmental activism, because I started back in middle school with green team and all that, learning what's recyclable, helping students divert their trash, and it kind of evolved over time, and I even tried to do something similar at our high school, but that kind of fizzled out during COVID times. But that's when I decided that I want to do more, and I got back in contact with someone that Clark introduced me back in middle school, the South Bay Parkland Conservancy, and I just said, well, if I've worked with these people before, I can just keep working with them. Exactly, so yeah, I'm now the student ambassador to the South Bay Parkland Conservancy, and environmental activism, or at least local environmental conservation, has been an incredible part of my high school volunteerism and even middle school volunteerism, because we're seeing out there every plot of land, just houses on top of houses. And I don't think it's right, because even with all those houses, we still have such a bad homeless crisis. And the idea shouldn't be to just fill every plot of land with houses, which it's the real estate that's going to be benefiting at the end of the day. It should, we should be conserving some of this land, especially the reason for Wilderness Park was that's actually native. That's a native seekout land. And funny enough, the Manhattan High School, that's built on native grounds. Oh, yeah, I did not know that. That's kind of funny. But yeah, so and one of my biggest projects, of course, has been taking down the AES power plant.
Oh, I didn't even know that you were doing that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. But yeah, the AES power plant, that thing should have been gone 10 years ago.
Yeah, I actually talked to the Redondo mayor on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, he's super passionate about it.
Well, I know that he wanted to take it down when he was like in his first couple of years, but it just hasn't happened, because it's just so much of like an effort to get like this massive power plant taken down. And,
there's just a whole controversy with that, with like the company in charge of the power plant paying the guy who the city had to deal with, because that plot of land was actually reserved for parkland. And that would have been nice, the what's it called, the Hermosa Greenbelt. If we just connected that down to the Redondo Pier, that would have looked nice. But it's a whole different story with the guy some young Russian guy who bought the land. He was getting paid by AES to keep the power plant running, and then the water board, which I don't even know how they got in power. They're just continuing it, pushing it off a year, every year, just so on the reasoning that California might suffer a blackout. And I don't believe that.
I think that's very poor reasoning to keep that power plant.
Yeah, because that thing actually takes 12 to 24 hours to power up. And in 2020 alone, it's an emergency power plant. So, whenever California does suffer one of those bad heat waves and all the other power plants go down, that's supposed to come online. In 2020, it couldn't answer a single flex letter. So, yeah, it's useless. It's just this 60, 70-year-old relic that's just sitting there.
Yeah, and it's really ugly, too.
Yeah.
Okay, we had to take a quick break just to reset the cameras. I guess I'll maybe shift the energy a little bit. So I'm not gonna ask because I don't want you to call yourself out, but I'm just curious about like your opinion on people partying and smoking and doing all that stuff in high school. Like, just what's your opinion on that?
Um, See, my idea on that has always been it's gonna be impossible to cut that out completely from high school life. I mean, that's like that's a core part of what sort of defines that American high school experience.
Um, American high school is euphoria, basically.
I mean, yeah, that's why that show was made. But um, see, and I think the most important thing has never been, just taking it away, because I think high schoolers are always going to find a way around it. Exactly. But it should be to teach them how to use it responsibly and in moderation, where they could balance, using certain substances with, while not getting completely hooked on it, and every other aspect of their life. Because I just, my main concern is that it consumes their life and they can't get out of it. And that's the awful part about drugs and alcohol. And parties are a different part, because I think my greatest fear about that has been the sexual assault incidents. And I think that's another part of just rape culture. And how really, like, things like sex ed at schools, they're not doing enough. And because if their idea is that it's not happening, and that it's once in a while it happens, I think that's a lie. It happens way more frequently. And I think pretty much most high schoolers, and that's just on my opinion, not really on any fact, I think have been exposed to it, or at least know of it. So, yeah, I my take on it is that we should be teaching students how to use it responsibly, and not just trying to completely remove it and think that, it's better now, because that's not how things are going to work out.
No, I completely agree with your viewpoint. Like, I think that people, like, if they do it in moderation, if they're safe, they're not drinking and driving, like, there's no point to do that. We have Uber. And I do think what you were saying about sexual assault is very important, because people don't realize that, like, if someone's really drunk, they cannot give consent. And I'm actually doing part of my senior research project on, like,
that's really cool,
like sex depictions in movies, film, adult film industry, and like how that affects like teens and like their relationships and ability to consent, because like we just get such a false narrative of like what sex actually is, like, because of like movies, TV shows, and just like people just don't really understand fully what's going on. But like I know someone at actually that I know of this friend. I'm not as good friends with him anymore, but he actually had a severe DUI. And he like completely rolled his car over like a bunch of different times.
I've seen pictures of it.
Okay, so you know what we're talking about. We won't call this person out. But like stuff like that. Like I'm completely against stuff like that. Like, how can you even allow yourself to be behind the wheel and flip your car like a million times? And also like just doing hard drugs. I don't know. For me, that's a little bit intense for high school.
It definitely is. And we're hearing all this talk about seeing all the possible ways to restrict access to those substances, because a part of my curiosity is, how are these students getting their hands on these substances? But even if we do all that, at the end of the day, if they do get their hands on it somehow, it's the question of, do they know what to do with it? How to deal with it? If the simple solution is, they should just leave it and walk away, are they going to actually do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard thing to think about. And I don't know, like things like marijuana and mushrooms, like those have been shown to have like medical uses. Like in Colorado, I think it's legal or decriminalized something. Like they're allowing mushrooms. But like, it's like, what is okay for like younger kids to do? Like marijuana, like you could get a medical card at 18 if you have like a reason for it. but it's like finding an equal balance, and like you were talking earlier, like being able to, I guess, like balance school, like that's really important. And like I guess I don't see anything wrong with if someone could do both, like I guess like drink or do drugs and maintain school. But if like one of those things, or if drugs is taking over your life or like getting in the way of school, then it should just be like cut out completely. There should like be no sacrifice for you taking any sort of substance than like your schoolwork.
And it's always nice to see those like recovery stories. Someone who's been on the just complete deep end in a few months becoming successful. So those are always wholesome, and I think that's the goal. Providing the right resources to students and just by the federal government even, to ensure that students, to ensure that students stay away from these substances, and if they do get in contact with them, that they're being responsible.
Yeah, I mean, something that was kind of funny is like me and my family just watched the news like last night, and my mom was like had a whole pep talk to me because these people on spring break, they all took cocaine together, and there was like 6 overdoses because it had fentanyl in it, and my mom was just like, oh my God, I could never see you doing drugs like that. Like if you killed yourself, I wouldn't know what I would do. Like she's just freaking out. And like I mean, sadly, like that has happened at our school before. And it's like, cause I knew the kid that passed away. I'm not going to say his name just out of respect, but like, it's really sad to see stuff like that happen. Like kids just like, innocently, like, wanting to experience drugs or just like be loose a little bit. Like it's tragic that something that would happen.
Yeah. And they have such a life ahead of them. Exactly. And yeah, it's definitely saddening.
I mean, yeah, and I've known a couple people like that I don't really associate anymore that have gone through really like hard like drug phases and then got out of it. It's good to see, but also like it's scary when people are like in that kind of mindset of like being on those drugs. Yeah. Getting a little bit away from the sad part. So you actually ran for homecoming and homecoming court, but you decided to run as somewhat a homecoming queen. Do you want to, I guess, talk about that a little bit? I'm kind of interested in like where that idea came from.
Yeah. It was during that entire. Sorry, I don't exactly remember. Time's getting mixed up. But I genuinely wanted to show support because I know they changed homecoming king and queen to homecoming court, but completely removing that king and queen aspect, I feel like kind of defeats the entire purpose. And I wanted to show that a boy can be homecoming queen and a girl can be homecoming king. Because anyone of any gender can fill any of those positions, and with enough support all around them. And I wanted to show that, in a certain capacity to students that they shouldn't fear to express themselves. Especially, we're in California. Yeah. So I hope that most people are, to a certain degree welcoming of people's sexual orientations and their genders. And, I just want to ensure that everyone feels comfortable in their own skin. And if they're expressing themselves in a way they feel comfortable, that everyone supports them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like what you did is really inspiring. Like you went out in a dress. I know maybe that was not necessarily what you wanted to do, like wear a dress, but like you went out there, you did that. And I think a lot of people who are confused, they're not sure like what they are, like gender wise or just like how they feel like as a person. Like you definitely helped a lot of people with that, even though like you may not have seen it or people like reached out to you. Like from an outside perspective, like I could see that is helping a lot of people that way. Yeah. And like for me, like that was kind of or not the first time, but like because I don't really like, not to say I don't like I don't like them. I haven't hung out with a lot of people that have been of like other genders or have considered themselves a they them. So it's like I like learning about that and learning like how they feel and how like something like what you did can make someone feel comfortable, because like all the like this is like somewhat newer to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm fully in support of everyone that is wanting to be whatever gender they want, non-binary, whatever, like on the spectrum. I think it's really important for people to be able to express themselves in whatever way they can.
And yeah, that's another thing. Honestly, I'm new to it as well. I only started looking into it deeper last year, thanks to the people around me. But I remember we had sex ed back in freshman year that tried to lightly touch on the subjects, and I really want to say at the time I wasn't emotionally mature enough, because I had no idea what was going on. They're telling me all these new concepts that I had never heard of.
Exactly, yeah.
And they were expecting me to just, accept it. And it was definitely a process, because, I've been introduced to it then, and I think it was a good thing that I was introduced to it, because slowly I was basically becoming more aware of, what allows people to genuinely express themselves. And if someone feels comfortable, if that helps someone feel comfortable with themselves, then everyone should be supporting it, really, because especially in today's society with all these societal pressures and even peer pressure, we should be stepping towards that world where everyone can feel comfortable with whoever they are. And we've heard that message since we've been growing up from kindergarten, and I think only now are we slowly opening up to the idea that truly anyone can be anyone.
Yeah, I agree. Like for me also, like I started kind of learning about like so we're saying like they them, like I had no idea what that was until high school. Like even in middle school, elementary school, I don't even think I really knew like what being gay like really was. And like through high school, like it's been really nice that some of my close friends now, like I've learned that they're like bisexual or gay or like they're on the spectrum, and it's really comforting like to know that my friends are feeling more comfortable in their own skin by just like being honest with me. And that's really nice to hear. I had something else I really wanted to say and it completely slipped my mind. You want to talk for a second while I try to figure it out?
Okay. No, I honestly, I think, I've been curious about this for a while now. Is it Kladecast or is it Kladecast?
It is technically my last name is pronounced Claudia.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad does not like that it's called Kladecast, because whenever someone asks for my name, I honestly just say Klade.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think
because it's easier for people to like spell it out. When they say Claudia, they'll spell it completely wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a weird name. My full name is Blake Claudia Klein.
Huh.
I have two names. I just don't let anyone know.
Is it like a hyphen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I mean, I'm Michael Lee-Chang. So
Michael
I totally
Lee-Chang.
understand. No, because I ask around and I get different answers all the time.
But I don't know, trying to go back to our conversation. Yeah, it's really cool. I really like that people are able to express themselves. Oh, I was talking about religion. So like I know a couple people that are really against like gay people, or not like as people, but like the idea that they're gay just because of their religion. And it's like, how do you feel about that? Like or people hating on people that don't like gay people because of their religion?
No, I just think it's an excuse for prejudice, because like just turning to like something like Christianity, I think the one line that a lot of people turn to is that one line about like it's not okay to be but they say it's not okay to be intimate with like a child, but like a baby boy. But I see it's
boy shall not lie with man.
Yeah, boy shall not lie with man. That's, I take it more as like, what the Catholic Church is known for, cough cough. But no, so I think it's just an excuse for prejudice, because even the Pope has come out and said we accept anyone who opens God to their hearts. And so he's accepted homosexuality, and he's like the head of the church.
Yeah.
So I think if people are going against that on their own like strong religious belief, I just think it's an excuse for prejudice, because that's, what is it, like thousands of year old book is gonna have commentary about today's world? No, and yeah, and this should not be a sentiment against religion. I've never personally been a religious person,
Yeah, me neither.
but I think it's good to bring all sorts of different type of people together, and especially, we hear those stories about how, like, those who turn to a life of God, they've been able to improve themselves and have certain values introduced to their lives to live on. And if it gives certain people meaning, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that people who in their religion that they strongly believe in, if it's not like accepted like homosexuality, that they should just be like accepting of the idea but not be homophobic. And I think that's a problem that is happening, like where people that are religious, like they will like hate people whatever they believe in, whatever they are. And I think that is hard to see. And I'm also on the same, I'm not a very religious like person. I would guess I would say I'm spiritual, but I don't know, I feel like just the idea of like God or like however you want to believe in, I think that is something that should be fluid too. Like, and I apparently there's supposed to be another great awakening soon, but I feel a lot of people, well, recently I feel like a lot more people are like not as believing in God or like organized religion.
Yeah, no, I have heard like there's statistics that there's an increase in atheism. I mean, I don't know how true that is, and I don't even know if I'm citing the right facts, but I mean, yeah, it should really be up to everyone's choices. No one should be forced to a religion. That's a cult at that point. And those are bad. Yeah, I mean that's a very controversial statement. Yeah, hot take. Yeah. So that's my belief, because I think religion's nice in bringing people together, but if it's bringing people together in a way where they're discriminating against a certain group of people or a person, then no, that's a cult. Yeah, at that point, that's not right.
You know, it's actually kind of crazy. The other day, I saw someone wearing Nazi symbols all over their pants at school, and he walked right in front of the principal at our school, and I saw nothing happen. I don't think he noticed, but like I just thought that was kind of bizarre. That like I don't know, people could just be so openly like hateful towards people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the not, and I'm honestly, I'm not that surprised that something like that has happened at our school, but no, because even in my high school time, I've encountered some of the most prejudiced students I'll ever know, and which is upsetting. And I really don't have it against the students. I think part of it is what they've been taught from their families and parents, or even the media they consume. So in a way, I don't want to say they've been raised wrong, because everyone has their different way of raising their kids. But I don't have anything against the kid, because I genuinely do believe that they can learn to be better. And that's my other thing. I'm totally against this, the Twitter method of canceling someone.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I agree that like everyone changes as a person. Like you are not the same person you were yesterday. Like everyone could change. So a cancel culture is very harsh.
Yeah. And it's these people saying we need to hold them accountable. Yeah, in the case of like George Floyd and the police officers. Yeah, no, that's holding them accountable, because those were racist pieces of crap. But in the case of just kids, like high school kids, and doxing them on social media, no, yeah, that's not the way to go. And that's honestly, I feel like that motivates the student to deviate to the other path, because now they have a reason to dislike this group of people, because they've been attacked. So yeah, I think it should be honestly a peaceful way to educate each other, because it took me a while for me to accept and learn about all these new concepts like multiple genders and pronouns. So I think everyone's capable of learning. It's a process, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, and I also like, I don't know if you know about do you know Dave Chappelle?
Dave Chappelle. Oh yes, yeah.
But he got canceled for like,
oh yeah, the Netflix thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he did make offensive jokes, but he tries to do it in a way where people are more connected, but people are just like, if it's an offensive joke, like people will really take it to heart, because like he does make a lot of transgender jokes that are not cool, but at the same time he was like, but I'm making this joke about my best friend, but who unfortunately killed herself because of like all this hate that she was getting.
Yeah, I only know briefly on that, so I don't think I can speak much on it. But no, yeah, I definitely share that sentiment of sometimes cancel culture is just not the way to go on bringing justice.
Yeah, what do you think about us like living in like a PC culture?
I mean, that's a big question, honestly, but I think certain aspects of it are definitely create a hostile environment. But for the most part, I think it's, that idea of progressive, because the word progressive to me has always been, moving forward, because I don't know who would want to keep living in the same time period over and over. Moving to that time of where everyone can be loved and everyone is loved and everyone is accepted for who they are. I think we're going towards a right path, down a right path. It's just execution, that's I think a point of debate for many people.
I guess like the final question I have is like, how do you feel to be a senior? Like, we're done with school. Just like, how does that feel? Like we're almost there, final stretch, second semester.
I mean, I don't want to speak for too many people, but I think a lot of people is, they get to be free, finally out of this high school. If they want to go out of state, they can. But for me, I am kind of, it does sadden me, a part of me, because I've spent so long, dedicated to our high school, trying to do whatever I can to help students, to improve the day-to-day life. And, I hear even from like ASB members, who's your successor? I the other day I was at the ASB finance office, and the faculty there was asking me, yeah, my wife tells me about what you put on your Instagram, and he's like, who's your successor? Who's going to continue the Michael Master name? And that worries me, because really my intentions has been that someone at a school, our school, takes charge and does what they're supposed to do. So I fear that when I leave, it's gonna leave this hole. But I'm sure people will get over it, in a day or two at most.
I think everyone's gonna cry when you're gone. The second you're gone, just tears.
I hope not. Yeah.
But that's it. We almost did an hour.
Wow.
And it was really fast, right?
Yeah, that did feel like an hour.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you again for coming onto the podcast. Do you want to shout anything out to the cameras?
No, but I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, I'm always happy to support student-run projects, and I do, I hope I see you, at the #1 Spotify podcast.
We'll see if it turns into something. I don't know. I'm just doing it for fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, but no, I've watched several of your episodes, so I definitely follow it deeply. Yeah. But to everyone watching, I hope that I've done what I could to help you, and that now you share hopefully my message that I've taught you to help as many people you can out in the world, because at the end of the day, that's always been my goal, to help as many people as I can, and hopefully to inspire them to do good. And I don't mean do well. I do mean do good.
I like that message. So just wanted to say thank you. Leave some love.
Michael Master, you got to get that in there.
Leave some love for him. Thank you all for listening. If you could leave a rating, leave a like, do whatever you can to show your support. It means the world to me. And thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.